It takes it a second to come through. You come through to Twitch first.
It usually comes through to Twitch first.
Oh, no. Tell a lie. YouTube. News just in. YouTube is beating Twitch. Oh, no. YouTube received it first, but Twitch got it first. And there we are on Twitch. Let's listen to the sound.
I love that. Twitch got it first.
YouTube received it first, but Twitch got broadcasted first. So there we are. And we are coming through to both, and that looks awesome.
Fantastic.
That looks absolutely amazing. So, fantastic. Well, good evening, I'm TheSuffolkRam.
Skazz.
And welcome to episode 144 of the Renegade podcast with new graphics.
Yep. Thank you, Zaber.
Thanks, Dave. You've done a phenomenal job. These look absolutely awesome. And guys on the audio version, you can't enjoy this, but if you go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/randnerds, or twitch.tv/randnerds, catch me out every single time.
It's like, how dare they change it? Like, why do that? It's like those people who have their name .photography or what the hell ever the new domains are. I was like, they're not domains, .com.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Why have we made it more complicated? Why can't we keep it simple? Because the emails are bad enough. But yeah, if you come to twitch.tv/randnerds, you too can enjoy our new graphics every fortnight. So, but no, they look absolutely brilliant.
Fantastic.
I'm really pleased. We look almost professional.
Yeah, no, not quite.
Not
quite.
But yeah, so we are.
We look professional up until people see the host and they're like, oh, God, it's them.
Yes, hopefully we sound more professional as well, because I've got better audio now.
I was going to say you upgraded.
I upgraded by a lot. I went from a £35. Well, I tell a lie. It was a £35 microphone as part of a set that included the arm, the pop filter, and an audio interface and a cable. The audio interface I'm not using, but everything else I was using for the £35 setup. So
wow,
that microphone's probably worth a tenner. So, and that's with markup. So
I was going to say that's really pushing it.
So I've pushed the money out and bought myself a Rode pod mic. That's the one. Why do they have so many similar names? Just call them
reasons. That's the newer one, isn't it? The £100 one with the
Yeah,
you could have totally stuffed more pants in there.
yeah.
All right, thanks for that. Excellent.
Love you.
This stream is now rated more pants.
Oh, good.
I've just been handed a.
Yeah, I'm watching it now. I'm literally, I'm watching you giving the thumbs up now.
Okay, thanks. Excellent. Live. That's what happens. And Pod Dog just literally sat at the door as if to say, hey, what about me?
Yeah. See, what we need to do, Skazz, if you put we can sort of tap our cans to each other. So I put mine, let me try to work out how we're going to do this. I need to.
Hang on.
That way. Right, ready? Right, I'm holding mine in position. Now we're going to have to wait for the delay while yours appears on the screen. And okay, right. This ain't going to work. Is it?
No.
Wrong side. Wrong side. Oh no, you're right side. No, we're both on the wrong side.
Look, I've got to go all the way over here to get to the fucking.
That's like, there you go.
I'm like about 10 foot away from the camera. Hang on.
Oh no! There we go. Yeah.
Let's go.
Tap. There we go.
You guys suck.
Oh.
I know. Look, hang on. Look, this is easier. There you go. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It would work better if we could see each other, because obviously we're doing the delayed version.
But dude, like, to get to this side is like, it's like well past my desk.
It's not my fault you've got a badly laid out system.
I apologise. I'll work on it.
Good. You could flip the video. You didn't think of that, did you?
No, you are right. Yeah, that's what happens next time. I'll just flip on the spot and just go. That's easier.
If I flip mine, it looks like we're sitting back to each other.
And then people will be all like, "Wait, hang on a minute. They're not even talking to each other." It's like, no, we don't want to.
Right. So, games we've been playing, and again we've been teeing. Well, that's not true. I broke my sea legs this week.
You did. It was fantastic.
I joined up Sea of Thieves, which is very weird because you messaged me about playing Sea of Thieves about 10 minutes after I'd gone and purchased it.
Ha! That's awesome. I was like, what about this?
Yeah, it's like, we'll get fancy playing Sea of Thieves tonight. It's like, funny you should say that. I've just bought it. It's downloading as we speak.
How'd you find it?
I liked it. The little briefly parts I played, I liked it.
That's fantastic. Like, that's it. I liked it. Like, come on.
Yeah. Oh, no, I really sort of like properly I've got sort of a taster, I think is what you would say, of the sort of whole thing. There's quite a lot of stuff that I didn't ever touch. You know, I steered a ship successfully. That's one thing I can do, is make the boats go in the direction I want the boats to go. I did, between me and Zabe, we did a handbrake turn.
That was fantastic. Just what I'll throw out there. You were playing the Steam version. We were playing the Microsoft Store version.
Oh, good. Crossplay. That's interesting. Yeah, there is a bug with Xbox, though, because apparently I'm evocative Ruby 299. Because that was what Xbox gave me as my gamer tag when I signed up. I never.
That was
bothered to
really
change it.
weird as well, because you actually told it what your name was going to be, and then because on the actual interface, I could see your name,
but in game, it shows up my old tags. Apparently, it can take up to 24 hours to 48 hours for it to update.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's good, because at least that way I was able to find you on the thing.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't do any tall tales when you played.
We did the first one, didn't we?
Did we do oh no, we did, didn't we? We did the entirety of the first tall tale. Zabemol and I have now done the second and third. So you've got to do those. Those are pretty fun.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. Yeah, we saw. I know we discussed about Sea of Thieves, but just in case there's anybody new, it's a pirate sim, basically, but very cartoony, very much based in the films and stuff. Pirate sim rather than actual pirate sim.
Make your own fun. There's very little actually pre-planned kind of thing.
Yeah, it's emergent gameplay, Skazz, I think is what we would call it.
Oh, is that what we call it now?
Emergent gameplay, yeah, that's a term. That's a term from the 90s. That's a term for where you have a game where you have lots of little individual systems but they're all sort of detailed, but you then let them interact in interesting ways. So, like Thief, Deus Ex.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, emergent gameplay.
No, never heard of it. Legit.
Really? Because I like games like that. I've got that sort of element to it. So I tend to seek those sort of games out. Those games they never planned for these systems to interact like this, but hey, why not?
Surprise! It's now a feature.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's all and it's all like, oh yeah, it's a situation where your teammates get together, and you explain the game, you say, oh yeah, well I did this, this, and this, A, B, C, and someone says, well I did X, Y, Z. We got the same outcome, but they're completely different possible ways, but they both work. But they both worked out. Yeah, but they weren't like a pre-planned set of sequences. So they just put the code there and let it just come out the code. That's what I try and do in the games I'm trying to sort of make the same thing, but lots of little systems. I'm hoping they'll interact to make an interesting thing.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I really enjoy. It is, yeah. I really enjoyed Sea of Thieves, and I hope we can. I'll be up for playing that again on our next game night. If you're up for it.
We've got to, because some of those tall tales are fantastic.
Yeah. So, how does it work when you're like multiple? Does it when you go to do the tall tales? Does it go by the lowest level, like the lowest stage person, or how does that work?
They basically function just like a regular bounty, or like a regular mini quest kind of thing, just with more stages, more detail to them. So, gold hoarders will ask you to go and find treasure. They'll give you a map. You go to the island. You dig stuff up. You solve a puzzle or riddle. Find the island. Find the treasure. Dig it up. Take it back to them. Then you've got the Order of the Souls, where you'll have to go to an island, and then kill a skeleton, then take the skull back. And then the merchant skills, you have to pick stuff up and all that. A tall tale is basically a combination of all of those things put together.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I always thought they leveled up based on how many people you have in your crew, because we have done a 4-player Tall Tale before, the second Tall Tale, and it was much harder when we did that this last time than it was when just Zaber and I did it this time. So I don't exactly know how they scale, but you know.
Presumably more enemies based on how many players. It's probably something like
Well, I remember the boss actually did massive damage when we first did it, but Zaber and I took her out with a sword this time. So,
but that's what I mean. They probably like look at it and go, okay, it's based on how many players of the group. Okay, do this multiplier based on that many players.
Sure. Kind of like how we theorized they should make hunts PVE.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Sort of level it to the players and so forth and whatever. Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, if you wish to experience this, you can come join us on Tuesday at 8 p.m. GMT +1 on twitch.tv/Skazius and twitch.tv/TheSuffolkRam, and you can watch our extra exploits.
And watch us sink. Now, close out there, Zaber and I played last night, and we got chased for 40 minutes by another human team across the map. They chased us all around the map. It was fantastic.
That must have been one slow chase.
Yeah, it was a pretty big slog. They did manage to catch us a couple of times, but we ended up wrecking their shit. So it was fantastic.
Oh, marvellous.
If it was Hunt Showdown, we'd have been rocking it.
This is where me and my sniper rifle would have come in, because I'd have gone back there and shot them.
Dude, I ended up picking up the sniper rifle for myself. Which, as you know, not my groove, but I was like, that's it, I need to take these guys out. They're chasing us, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
Zaber's trying to long range him with a shotgun. I was like, that's not going to work, dude.
No. How many were on their team? Did you work out?
It was 2 and 2. So me and Zaber versus another small ship. The annoying thing is, we logged into the server, got on the ship, and they chased us right from the moment we logged in. We sailed right past them so we were leaving as they were coming in to dock. And they literally just spun straight round. One of their guys jumped off the boat to attack us. We killed him, and then they just chased us from that point on.
Yeah.
Until we got into several firefights and all that kind of stuff. And they were just chasing us across the map whilst we were trying to complete this Tall Tale.
It's like, fuck's sake, we're trying to get on with our mission here.
That was it. We were like, if they fucking do us in right now, I am not going to be pleased. Because we were like, we'd gone a long way in this Tall Tale. A long way. And we were only planning to finish the Tall Tale because they're now putting checkpoints for their story missions. We'd done a bit the night before and so, all we've got to do is go from here to here to finish the mission. And they fucking followed us the entire way, the bastards.
That's about typical. So how does it work for you? You say, obviously, because when we played Tall Tale, you did die once, but you then respawn on the ship. Is it a case of if you order, your party gets wiped?
No. If you wipe and your ship is still afloat, you can respawn on the ship. As soon as the ship goes down, though, you'll just respawn and the ship will respawn somewhere else.
So the ship's the trigger, as it were, rather than the parties. Oh, that's interesting. That's quite interesting.
So as long as your ship is still floating, kind of, I mean, you could literally be about a second away from it going under, you can still respawn on the ship.
Yeah. So and what if your ship? So and I'm doing this case of if you're still alive and your ship is sunk, you've sort of had it, really.
Yeah, basically. And then if you're still alive, the ship is sunk and you haven't gone down with the ship, because you can get pulled under by the ship, a mermaid will rise and you can tell it to teleport you to the new ship. Unless you get attacked by sharks, as Inky just said, at which point you're a bit stuffed then.
So death isn't really much of an inconvenience, really. It's more of an annoyance.
It's not so much of an inconvenience as long as you haven't got a deck full of treasure. Because as we established in a previous podcast, you don't actually get rewarded in Sea of Thieves for just digging the stuff up. You have to get back with it. Yeah. And so if we're in a Tall Tale and they kind of stole the plot items that we needed to do the Tall Tale, I'm not actually entirely sure how we'd go back to do it. Because we did have stuff on our deck, so we were incredibly protective of the ship. Unlike normally, like, oh, we've just done some Gold Hoarders missions and they've just wrecked our shit. We wouldn't really be all that bothered. But because we were doing a main storyline quest that takes many hours to do, we were like, we're going to actually have to try and engage the other team.
Is there a respawn timer for when you die?
I believe it. I mean, it's really brief. It's really, really brief. You know when you did you die as well, or was it just
No, I
okay?
died.
So when you die, you basically go to like a ship of lost souls. You respawn on the deck of a ship of the dead in like this kind of otherworldly place, and basically you run from the front of the ship to the captain's quarters, and all of a sudden the door of the captain's quarters will just fling open. You walk through it, you go back to your ship. That could take a few seconds, 10, 20 seconds, sometimes a little bit longer, but you just have to wait for it to load in and off you go.
So there is an effect as a respawn timer in effect. There is one.
So you can't just literally pop back up and start, get back into the fight kind of thing.
So in your case with your other players, you're chasing you. If you were to take them both out, you've got like some seconds to sort of make an escape, as it were.
Yeah.
Before they come back, and obviously
there were a couple of times where we killed a member of their crew, and you could see that it did quite significantly hamper their ability to chase us. But when their character respawned, they very quickly got back on our asses. So we were never able to do enough damage and kill enough of their crew to make their ship go down. But yeah, if they had a bigger ship, they would have had a lot more trouble against us. But because they were only on a small ship, a sloop, it wasn't that big of a problem for just say one person to go and patch it and still fight us and all that kind of stuff. But obviously, if they had a much bigger ship, like I can't remember what the biggest ship is now, the galleon, that has multiple levels. So if I started taking pot shots at the lower levels of their boat, it would take them much longer to travel from the top of the boat, the top deck, the upper decks to the lower decks, and do the repairs and then get back up to re-engage in the fight.
Yeah, it slows them down, doesn't it? So
yeah, but all in it's reasonably it's okay. It's reasonably well balanced. We also took out some NPC ships as well because there are now more NPC ships. Once upon a time, you only really ever saw galleon ghost ships. Now you can get chased down by sloops and the middle ship that I can never remember what it's called. But one of those just decided it was going to pop up alongside us in a random event style thing. Just take that out. It's nice what they've done now.
Can you like board them and like?
You can board the enemy ships. You can steal what they have on deck. You can fight them on their own boat. You can lower their anchors too. So that's a nice tactic if someone's got a bigger ship. Because obviously the bigger ship, it takes longer to raise their anchor because it's heavier. So what these other players tried to do to me and Zaber the other night was they tried to board us and lower our anchor. But the trick is the sloop is designed for a two-man crew, so it doesn't take long to raise the anchor. But if all of a sudden you're getting chased by a galleon, if one of you jumps overboard, hops onto their ship, and drops their anchor, they are effectively stuffed. And you've got plenty of time to get away because it'll take. They either have to get all of their guys together to raise anchor, or it's going to take one guy a long time.
So it's actually a possibly valid tactic would be almost to have like a suicider, someone who just goes across there and says, "I'll just cause carnage on their ship for it's 30 seconds till they kill me." That gives you guys a bit of distraction to sort of get away, and I'll respawn on you.
Yeah, that is a valid tactic. We've done it before. It's always kind of fun as well. And I remember one time we played with a pirate legend. So a pirate legend is a level 50 character, or someone that has gotten all of their alliances up to level 50. And he joined us, and we got attacked by a group in a galleon. And he decided, solo, they stole all of our stuff, took it to their ship. He was then like, I'm not having any of this. Jumped overboard, got onto their ship, killed their crew, and then steered their ship into an island and sank it.
Ooh.
So that's another thing that people tend to do is you'll get back on board the enemy ship, kill a couple of their crew, and then just quickly turn it off into another direction, and then.
To be fair, if you've got someone steering your boat, in theory, you could actually send across all 3 of the other players to their ship, and let that one cause absolute carnage. Let the one person who steers to sort of try and steer us out of trouble and hope they don't crash.
Yep.
And just cause absolute carnage. So it's a degree of tactics to this.
As long as you're on a smaller ship, it's a lot easier for one person to do everything. Because obviously, as you get to a bigger ship, you've got more sails, which means you have to adjust more sail angles, and they're all like in different places. Whereas if you're only on a sloop, you've only got 1 to deal with. You go up to the next ship, you've got to deal with 2. With a galleon, you might have to deal with 3. You've got to make sure that everything is in the wind, so that you're moving at full speed.
But if your goal is to disrupt the other ship and just keep moving, you won't move very fast, but you just keep moving. We'll just cause as much disruption. It's going to be a lot harder to take out 3 of us.
It's funny actually because there is actually a PvP specific, like almost like a deathmatch mode, where you actually see other players going, and you'll see this kind of stuff regularly. Players jumping overboard to board other ships, and trying to steer other ships into islands or to all of the things that you've mentioned. Very valid tactics. People are so good at this game as well. It's insane. Like the way that they all coordinate is fantastic. Because there is actually an in-game chat feature as well in Sea of Thieves, like what we mentioned last time about Hunt Showdown. They do have like an in-game chat feature. So the thing with Hunt Showdown was that the in-game chat feature was supposed to be the way that people communicated, so that other players would be able to hear you talking with your teammates. But no one uses it. They use Discord. Sea of Thieves.
Well, let's be honest. Chat in Hunt Showdown, trying to communicate with text chat is just going to be
no. There's a voice chat feature.
I thought about chat. Sorry. I was about the text chat. Sorry.
And there's same thing in Sea of Thieves, so that if you fall out of range of your teammate, they can't hear you, and you have to grab your megaphone and shout through the megaphone and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
It's neat.
That's cool. That is neat. I mean, of course, I've ever used in-game comms. I've always used. I used to use Skype. I used to use TeamSpeak, and I use Discord.
We've used in-game comms on things before. One of the best implementations back in the day was a game called Crime Hounds, where and as the mission started, your base beacons out you've got a radio tower on your base, and then obviously the idea is to go and either destroy the other base, the other team's base, or destroy all of their suits and their other like pirate mechs. If you move out of range of your base, you can't talk to each other anymore until you establish another connection. You going to a checkpoint or a communication tower, and players could fight for communication towers. So you could actually disrupt the other team's communication by kind of sweeping round and taking other towers and that. That was always fun.
I remember a game, and it was a game. It was one of the few games I played online. I didn't play many games online, as you know.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
I can probably list on one hand how many games I actually played online multiplayer. But this one I did play quite a lot online multiplayer. It was Command & Conquer Renegade.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you ever played the multiplayer version of that, or if you
I
played
didn't
the game.
on that one, no.
The multiplayer version of the game was based, because Command & Conquer Renegade is first-person Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun.
Okay.
So that's basically it. The multiplayer was basically like the first-person version of the RTS, in that both sides had a base, and the base would have, if you're a Nod, you had an obelisk. If you're GDR, you had the sentry post. You'd have a vehicle factory. You'd have your multifunction building. You'd have a barracks, and you'd have a Tiberium refinery. That's everything you had. And you literally, your refinery was actually sending out harvesters to harvest Tiberium and take it back to the refinery, and that would go into a pool of money that you could then use as play to spawn vehicles or spawn special characters. The trick of it was, though, if you destroyed the building, it was gone. So the way to win was you had to destroy the enemy base. And you could destroy it just like from the outside of missiles or so forth, or you get inside, you get to, like there'll be like a little command unit inside that if you like put C4 and you could destroy it really easily.
Sure.
But it was really cool because you were actually sort of the goal wasn't to kill other players, it was to destroy their base.
Yeah.
And the defense, the base was well defended. The North Tower GTO base was really hard to get past, so you'd have to sort of like storm it with a group. If you went 1-on-1, you'd probably lose. If you stormed it as a group, you could sort of like someone would get in there because realistically, the only way you were going to take those out was to get in there with some C4. So I remember doing like raids to be sort of like 6 or 7 of us. We just storm across the map at this base, a couple of engineers, just hoping that the engineer wouldn't get took out first, and he'd get in there, put his C4 in it. It was actually really cool multiplayer mode, really neat idea. It was a bit more interesting for me. It was great fun, and you could actually just go back and you could just like, I'm going to buy a vehicle, I'm going to buy a tank and so forth, and it was really cool. So
that was good.
Yeah, it was.
But that's one that I'm going to be honest. This one I never.
It didn't get very good reviews. It got a pretty bad write-up. I actually quite liked it.
Sure.
I played quite far. I mean, the levels were huge. I think that the first level took me like a couple of hours to get through.
I take it they've binned it off now.
Oh, well, yeah, I would have thought so. This is ancient. This is about early 2000s.
Sure. It's not one of the ones that they've remastered or anything.
Oh, no, let me have a C&C Renegade. Renegade was released. Well, it's developed by Westwood, so that gives you a bit of a clue how old it is. Released 2002.
Oh, blimey. Okay.
Yeah, that was a. I said we didn't get terrible. I mean, it got a bit of mixed reviews. I mean, like some people get like 4 out of 10 and so forth. So that's not very fair. It was actually a neat little. Well, I really enjoyed it. That was all the 3 games I played online.
There you go.
Not the first game I played online, which was Rogue Spear, but one of the 3 games I did play online.
Fun times.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can really tell they put care into their multiplayer mechanics. It's not. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to sound like modern games don't really do a great job, but like. Sometimes I'm not a huge fan of just like team deathmatch online and then releasing 20 versions of the same game with the same mode.
I like
Stuff like Sea of Thieves and Hunt have been really fun for me because of the way they've kind of tweaked gameplay. And
yeah, it's not PvP is not the main part of the game. Well, I suppose you could argue Hunt is a very important part of the game, but it's not quite the main part. But it's definitely high up. Sea of Thieves is actually, I'd say, PvP for what I've heard and seen, it's actually relatively low down in many ways. It's important, but not as high.
There are a lot of players in Sea of Thieves that will completely ignore other ships if they see them.
Yeah,
they'll just pass each other and just wave at each other and all that.
Yeah. So, but no, I like a multiplayer with a bit of a twist on it.
Sure.
I quite like that game PUBG play. I quite like that actually because it's a bit different. It's a bit deathmatch, but a little bit of that twist with the sort of like play area getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
What I would like to have done is if there's someone getting the same match, which is probably quite easy to say because we'll all be on the same match anyway, is see how small that player would actually get.
Right.
I'm just intrigued at how small does it go before it like sort of...
Did it not pretty much?
We got down to
really low. We were like right up. We were down to a house inside.
We were down to a small building, but I was intrigued to see, does it get to the stage like you have an area where you can't both stand in?
In Radical Heights, it literally, so not the same game, obviously, but Generally, in battle royale games, the circle just shrinks to the point that there is no save space at all, and the players will
Cool.
constantly take damage until it's over, until one of them drops.
Ooh, yeah. That's what I was just intrigued by. So, right, Sea of Thieves then.
Mhm.
That's
Fun
okay.
game.
Fun game. So I've been playing a couple bits. I visited a game that I talked to the podcast. Oh, probably a couple of years ago. Probably on our. I think I might have talked about it on episode 100, even. I play a game called The Light That Keeps Us Safe.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually got released. It was in early access when I last played it. It's got released October last year.
Sure.
So I decided to sort of go back into it today and sort of play it and sort of see what's changed. And I got sort of just past on similar points. But yeah, so I'll just quickly go over it again because it's been a while since I talked about it last. It's made by the same developers who made So You're Being Hunted,
Sure.
which has a multiplayer mode. Just throwing it out there.
Oh, there you go.
Playing with something made for So You're Being Hunted, and you are set some sort of post-apocalyptic world where you are like the last survivor of humanity, and you need to basically everybody else is the world got took over by looks like some sort of alien invasion of robots, and everybody left. They went into the light, they called it. They all left. You are the ones who decided to stay behind. But you're running out of food and supplies, and it's like, okay, you can't stay here any longer. You need to go. You need to leave as well, but you need to get parts and supplies and power to get off the site.
Yeah.
So it's you have a central hub. It's like a sort of semi-safe area. It's got some threats in it, but but you know about them. You usually have to be really stupid to be killed by them. But you leave the hub, and the hub will have other levels attached that you leave. You go through the bunker. It's called the hub. It's called the bunker. And you go to these levels, and so the mechanic of the game is you have no weapons. It's a stealth-based game, but your only weapon is basically a torch, as in a light-up torch.
Oh, fantastic.
And yeah, it's called the Light Keeps Safe because basically most robots don't like light.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like it. So the levels will have areas of light you can stand in, which they won't come into.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to use your torch. Now, as you get more parts, electronic parts for it, you can upgrade it. And the levels are locked off in the way because you can't get to them unless you've got a certain upgrade. So there's an upgrade that allows you to power up like these power stations. And there's a level which is behind a door that has a power station in front of it. So until you've got an upgrade, you can't get into it. It's a linear progression. You have to the upgrades you get are stage by stage. So you upgrade each stage, you go ahead to the other areas, and that's when you then sort of encounter. Now each area is procedurally generated. So it's randomized what it's going to be, although they have a rough sort of theme to them. So when you play it twice, you'll never get the same area twice.
Cool.
So you'll get to the area, and you're stealthing your way around, avoiding the robots, solving puzzles to get into areas, getting machine parts, which is a big thing. You used to claim these little things called, what are they called? Oh, but basically the power source required to power up this teleporter, whatever it is, to get you out the game, and that's what you're doing. So that's basically they sort of implement most. When I last played, they implemented the first 3 areas. They've now done the last few. And I've been playing it. It's like I've been enjoying it. It's a very atmospheric game, beautiful atmosphere. Some of the robots are more annoying. I think there's like this one level. There's this big hulking like UFO type creature that just as soon as you spawn the map, it knows where you are and just keeps heading your direction very slowly.
Sure.
And so you have to keep moving away from it to sort of
cool.
Yeah. To be honest, that can be a little bit annoying. It'd be nice if perhaps after it attacks, because it attacks you, when it attacks you, you're pretty much dead. It'd be nice perhaps if it attacks you and hits you and hurts you, you had like a shutdown cooldown period where you could escape from it.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be quite nice. But I sort of playing. I thought, I want to see what sort of how it looks, see what's going on with this. And I'm a bit disappointed. I'm actually very disappointed in the developers in that they've pretty much abandoned it.
Oh.
Yeah. Because after playing, I thought I sort of had a look to see First of all, when you look back at Say Being Hunted, which was released in 2013, I looked at the sort of Steam discussions for that sort of community hub, and there is a lot of nonsense. People saying, "Oh, you can add," like people like posts from 2019 saying, "Oh, can you add this to this? This would be good if you could add this to it." It's like, guys, this game was released in 2013. It's finished.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to keep adding stuff to it 6 years later. You know, you move on. This is the game. That's the game. It's finished. It's done. It's pretty stable. Live with it. But pretty much they've just dropped off it. Their last update for the game was when they announced it being released, and there's been pretty much nothing come through for it since. They're not been actively on the discussion groups. Their official Twitch account, they've not tweeted anything in like nearly a year.
Mm-hmm.
Their website, if you go to the website address, it redirects you to the website, the official website for their previous game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's
so,
like,
I mean, so I don't know. Like, do you feel then that they've just gone, shit, we need to get this out, tacked it together, lobbed it out, and run?
for what I've played, it feels pretty solid. It has got some bugs in it. There's a bug I encountered when I encountered in early access, where I was climbing a set of stairs, I basically took off and started flying across the map.
Fantastic.
And I could steer, as it were, by turning the mouse, but I couldn't move forward or backwards.
Okay.
So I had to sort of like, what I ended up having to do was sort of steer myself round, because I was going sideways as well.
Mm-hmm.
I had to steer myself round until I was pointing at the bunker door and aim and sort of
Just like drift in.
hit the bunker door, then use the activate key to take me back to the bunker to reset it all, because obviously something tricked and upset the physics engine and couldn't work out what to do and just sent me flying.
Physics need not apply on this one.
And I put down early access issues. Apparently that bug's still there.
So they've got a bit of a Bethesda syndrome going on then.
Yeah, they've I wonder if they've been off more than they can chew. I mean, it looks really nice. Some people play with the graphs, but for a team of 3 people, it looks really good. Mm-hmm. It looks really impressive for 3 people. I mean, it's fine. It's got a great atmosphere, but it feels like they've just completely walked away from it. There's been not a single update from them in the months, and they've just
sad, really.
It's very sad. They've just sort of vanished from the face of the earth. I mean, I know a couple of the guys, not personally, but I know who was in it, and they're still on Twitch and stuff, but they seem to have disappeared. It's really sad because they made one of my favourite games, So Being Hunted, which is a game which it's one of my favourite games of the last 10 years.
You raved that game something hardcore.
Yeah, I still play it. I still play that game now. But yeah, it's just really sad to see them do this, and particularly when they seem so in touch developers. Mm-hmm. All I'm going to guess is financial issues.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut out
It's sad though that they didn't. I mean, maybe they had to sign something to say they can't mention that the studio's stuffed, but
maybe. We know how it's with indie devs. You live and you die by your games. You really are, and I think Sir did very well for them, but then I don't think their other games, so 12, which was quite neat. It's got positive reviews and so forth, but I don't think it sold enough, probably. And then this was probably not sold as well as they thought, and it's just not done enough to keep them going.
Okay.
I suspect the studio's all but collapsed. I suspect.
Sad, really.
Yeah, it's sad. I just wish they'd come out and say it.
That's what I mean. That's what it seems a bit about it that that's happened. I mean, it's funny actually you say about the games aren't going to be updated years after coming out. I remember something happening to a fighting game called Skullgirls back in the day, and they ended up in the middle of a legal dispute with their publisher. It wasn't them, but they were in the middle of it. The publisher was in trouble for something, and because they were kind of closely tied to the publisher, they got stiffed over, and they ended up having to work for free for like an entire year just to keep the game going because they had no other way. Then the game got pulled from stores by the publisher, and then they had to find another way to re-release and rebuild their studio. It's painful, really, sometimes. You have no idea what's going on in the background, and sometimes you just wish someone could say, look, this is what's happened. We're sorry. We've tried our best. Please enjoy what we've done, but this is it.
I think the trouble is that the gaming community can be somewhat, how can I put this nicely, toxic.
Oh no, never
yeah.
the gaming community. No,
Yeah,
no.
I know where the byword, the gamers are the byword for tolerance and understanding. And I can just say put out there saying, guys, we've hit financial issues. We're basically going bust. We're not going to be able to afford to update anymore because we're just not going to be there. And they would get reamed because people say, well, you shouldn't have sold like this. I demand a refund, all this sort of stuff. You know how it would be.
No, you are, I suppose.
Yeah. So I can sort of see, and also I think sometimes it's a case of burying your head in the sand. You see it going downhill and you don't want to admit there's a problem and you hope it's going to get better and it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, but this is all speculation, of course. There might be a big massive patch come out tomorrow for it. So it's all speculation, but it just has that whiff about it.
Sure.
And if they do it, and if they do, it's a real shame. It's a real shame. But that's how it happens. I think, especially with indie studios, is you make it or you don't.
Yeah.
And like bands, often there's a lot of one-hit wonders out there. They'll make one thing, and if you're lucky, you'll make it big, and you'll make millions. I mean, look at Notch and Minecraft. I mean, he's tried other things since, but nothing's.
I mean, I think some of his projects have literally disintegrated.
Yeah, exactly. He's not.
He had Minecraft, he had Scrolls, he had some other stuff.
Yeah.
But all you really hear of is Minecraft.
I mean, in the case of Notch, I don't think he needs to worry anymore. He's set for life, really. Mm-hmm. So I think he needs to worry anymore. But yeah, it just goes to show actually when you have that one-hit wonder, you are sort of doomed in many ways because every time you develop anything else, unless it's as good as your first one, people say, "Well, why didn't you carry on making X, Y, Z?"
Yeah, sure.
Or you start just making just updating Minecraft for the rest of your life. So it's just sad. It's sad, and I mean, all fair, they tried to do so. Well, I know it's all like a spiritual successor to say. It's like spiritual successor to say being hunted in many ways. Mm-hmm. You come with things like say being hunted in like 200 years' time, but it's just sad. It's just sad that they've just abandoned it. But we'll see. The other game I played, and this one is finished, and if I was not going to do anything else to it. It's cool, and it's a very short game. It literally took me 30 minutes to play.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's called Paratopic.
Oh, okay.
It's a little indie walking simulator game.
Another walking simulator. You really like those, don't you?
Look, what I told you is, guys, I get home on on like a Saturday when I tend to do my walking sims. I tend to get back from the farm. I've been at work 5.5 days. I want to sit down on the PC, just relax, and not have to think or require twitch reflexes. And so I break out the walking simulators because
I get the groove. Yeah, I get it.
So sometimes you just want to sort of like not have to interact too much with a game.
Sometimes you just want to put your head on the desk, put your hand over WASD, put your other hand on the mouse, and you don't even need to look at the screen. Just go.
Yeah. Or no text, or voice-based, so I can actually sort of close my eyes and just listen to it and just accept the visuals are good. And that's basically it.
If I could be bothered to look up at the screen, I'm sure it looks fantastic. I'll just hold W and we'll get to the end.
Yeah. Paratopic doesn't look fantastic. Well, that's not fair. It's a stylized game.
Right. Okay.
It's stylized to look like, I would say, and it has been stylized because it's made in Unity, but it doesn't look this bad. It's been stylized. It's been stylized like sort of say early PS1 game.
Oh,
okay. You know how like
choice.
do you remember how like in the early PS1 games that a character model, their face be like come to a sharp point in the middle where their nose is.
Yeah,
and it'd be like two halves past either side. That's basically how the character models look in this. Just to give you an idea what it's like, and it's very sort of 32-bit sort of like.
I was gonna say, you sure they just don't have a handle on geometry?
Possibly that as well. Plus, it's a case of, look, we're really shit at making character faces. Let's call it a style and be done with it.
Hey, I would.
that's what I would do. Yeah, so that's my excuse. My game because I look shit. It's a style.
It's like
I've
when
gone
it's like when I play guitar, mate. Like you know, same chords every time. That's the exact same thing you played last time. Oh, yeah, mate. Style choice.
Hey,
Totally.
it worked for status quo.
Just that word for Nirvana.
Yeah, exactly. What are you complaining about? But yeah, it's a little game. It's actually you play three characters. You're playing a smuggler, an assassin, and a bird watcher. And you are
okay.
yeah, I know. It's all
Hell of
like
a combo.
choose your class.
What a
Smuggler,
trio right there.
assassin, bird watcher. Special abilities has a camera.
Walks around with binoculars and a bag of seed.
Yeah. Yeah. Default starting equipment: camera, bag of seeds, binoculars. It's I Spy book to bird watching. I think the assassin's got like poison and guns, and it's not the same as the bird watcher, is it? You know, the smuggler's
Clearly,
got
the bird watcher is the OP class.
Yeah, smuggler's got the anal cavity and the
The little baggies.
little bag. Yeah, clearly that's what it is.
X-lax.
And so you'll play these three characters, and it's sort of like jumping between their viewpoints, and it's also meant to take place at roughly the same sort of time period, I think. But you are jumping between them, and it's all seeing the characters through, and it tells a little story about these three people, and there's some hint there's some sort of paranormal thing going on, but it's not entirely sure what it is. And it's about half an hour long. It was interesting. I enjoyed it for the half hour I played of it. I enjoyed it. They do want to charge you nearly a $5 for it, which I would say no.
Get it
it's
on
not
the sales. Hard sell.
If I developed this, I would say I'd actually put it out there free as a look. This is what we're trying to do. Have a see what you think. I feel bad charging for it, if I'm honest, but not my game.
I get the groove.
I can't. That's not my choice. But I think if it was $1.99, it'd be more acceptable. But $4.79 for a half-hour experience that you'll play through once stings a bit. There's lots of other indie games out there for like £6 that will give you 10, 20 hours worth of gameplay.
No, I get the groove.
Yeah, if it was longer, if it was a couple hours long, I would say fair enough. But it's just a bit too short.
Sure.
So, but it was an interesting experience. But yeah, so I would say if you like this for voices and you want something bit strange and weird, which all indie walking simulators tend to be strange and weird, something to pick up in the Steam sale.
If you want a walking simulator, there is both strange and weird. Dear Esther band.
Yes.
Piss take of Dear Esther.
I need to play that. And Dear Esther as well, actually. So
get it done.
I will do. Play one after the other. So that's it for games. Just a couple of things I want to talk about. So last podcast we were discussing the new edition of Warhammer 40k, 9th edition.
Managed to get it? You did?
Well, I did, yeah. I put out there on the podcast, said, by the time you hear this, it'll be open for pre-order. Go on, Games Workshop, you're about to pre-order it. That might have been a bit premature because they slightly underestimated how popular it's going to be.
Okay.
I think. They opened pre-orders up there's a 2-week pre-order window. They opened pre-orders up at 10 a.m. By 3 minutes past 10, they'd sold out. Oh. Because I was at the farm. I was working. I was at the farm and I was on my phone with 4G, and I had logged into my Game Workshop account.
You were sat there hitting refresh, DDoS.
I was every 20 minutes refreshing it. It's all like between okay, I fed those pigs now. Let's see if Games Workshop have unlocked it yet. Because I didn't know what time it was going to be unlocked.
Yeah.
And I refreshed it. It's like, oh, it's available for pre-order. Add to basket. Go to click it. Browser crashes. So I was like, no biggie. Go back. Not available anymore. I was like, what? What? Not available?
Raspberry Pi syndrome.
What? Yeah, so how did that happen? What? I've never known a Warhammer sold out so quickly. They have sold... So this is the new box set called Indomitus. Previous box set was called Dark Imperium. They have apparently had more, from what I've heard, they had more copies of Indomitus sold but in that time frame than they sold of the whole Dark Imperium run from when it was launched about 4 or 5 years ago.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they have severely underestimated how popular it was going to be.
What the
They've
fuck
worked.
happened? I mean, that's a hell of a jump. Not
They have been.
scalpers.
They did some stuff for scalpers to deal with scalpers. They are sort of trying. So they first of all they did a lot of. They were very good at building a hype up of it. So for the last month and a half, they have been doing daily posts on their Warhammer community site. They've been doing Twitch streams where they've been discussing the new models, showing them off. Or they're going through they've done unboxings. They've been doing playoffs between different units in the box. They've been doing lots of stuff to sort of preempt this and get it sort of up there. So they've really built the hype up. And they actually work. I think they had a tweak. It was going to be more than expected because a few days before the announcement, when they released it, originally it was going to be limited to 6 boxes per person. Was the original release
6 boxes? Per
that was
person.
insane. That was insane. They dropped it down to 3 a few days before. They said we're going to drop it down to 3 people instead. I still think it should be no more than 2.
No, for sure. I mean, what do you need more than a couple sets unless you're running a club?
Yeah, and if you're running it, but then if you're running a club, you probably wouldn't be buying it, to be honest.
Well,
so, no, but I can see someone buying 2 if they like one for themselves, one for pro. I could see that, but I can't think of people who generally would want to buy 3, as in they generally need 3 sets for 3 purposes, unless they're going to be sent on. That game started getting listed on eBay almost immediately.
Yeah,
hasn't even been sent out to people yet, but it's been on eBay almost immediately. So, what were they to do? They had a 2-week pre-order window open. It's meant to ship. So, I'll tell you what happened with me first.
Okay,
so,
go on then.
After that happened, I was like, shit, what am I going to do? So, I was hyped as well because it looks really cool. So, I started going through all the various shops I know in the area. So, I rang up Anatar in Lowestoft, and I asked them, hey, are you got any pre-orders available for the new Warhammer 40k box set? A person said to me, bless her, she said, oh yeah, you can order Warhammer stuff. When we do our next order, we'll send it in. I said, no. If you've not ordered this already, you ain't getting it. The trade orders were the day before, about 2 days before the public trade orders.
Yeah.
So if you've not ordered this, you ain't getting this. That's not happening. So I was like, forget it, basically. In a nice possible way, you're going to help me. Thank you very much for your time, but I'm fine. I'm going to go elsewhere. There's another shop that wasn't open until midday. There was one in Yarmfield, so I rang him up, and the guy there was a misery. I said to him, I wonder if you see pre-orders the new 40k box. He goes, no, I do not deal with Games Workshop. They're a horrible company. I have nothing to do with them. I don't have anything to do with them. I advise you to steer clear of them. I was like,
oh, wow.
And I basically said, well, thank you very much for your time, but I'm going to have to go elsewhere. Sorry. Bye.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, okay, say I don't deal with Games Workshop. I actually lose respect. People start bad-mouthing other businesses. Just say, oh, no, I don't deal with Games Workshop. I'm sorry. And leave it at that. That's all I would have gone. Fair enough. Moved on. As soon as I was bad, I was like, oh, I don't want to deal with you for anything in the future. I just don't want to deal with you. So I'm sat there on my phone, I'm sat in the farmyard thinking, what do I do? So I'm looking at it, and I noticed the Games Workshop in Norwich opens at 11 o'clock.
All right.
And I think to myself, I wonder. They can't have. They won't. So then at 11 o'clock, I ring them. They answer. Have you got any pre-orders available for the new 40k box set? Yes, we have. I said, you are kidding me. He goes, no, we know they've sold out online, but we've still got about 20 left. I was like, you are amazing. I want to put one in, please. So I pre-ordered it with them. And I go down to pick it up in about a week's time. I'm going to be going down to pick it up. I won't tell you what time. I won't say what time I'm picking it up in case I get mugged.
Yes.
But, so the other thing, I didn't get a box set. When's Ram getting his?
He gets mugged for you get mugged by a scalper.
yeah, exactly. So, but I'm going down there on the when it gets released to pick my box set up. But yeah, I was amazed they had a copy left. I had 20 left. I was absolutely amazed. One, I do feel sorry for those ones. I've spoken about Goblin Gaming before.
Yeah,
I feel very sorry for them. They were taking pre-orders, and because a lot of people were saying after Games Workshop went out saying, "Oh, go to Goblin Game, they've still got a few left. Go to this place." And every time I was going there, I was trying all these other websites first. They'd all run out by the time I got there. Goblin Game put about 4 or 5 hours after everything sold out, they put an announcement up on their Facebook page, and they said, "We've had a bit of a technical issue. Our back-end software, Shopify, which we use for our e-commerce site, was being could not keep up and was basically not incrementing the counter quick enough."
Oh dear.
Oh dear. So they had 300 copies, what they had, and it was bad. They haven't said how many they have oversold because it was set to 300. They'd also set up so that you could only order 300. They set up so you could only do one per customer. They'd all set up. They thought about this. They'd done everything they could, actually. They really could tell they thought about what they're going to do. They did all the stuff they planned for. But Shopify basically couldn't update the counter, so it's being able to do so many requests, it wasn't updating the counter quick enough.
Sure.
So, like 10 people buy the same copy.
Good luck, Goblin Gaming. Good luck.
Well, to be fair, they went straight out there, they got out there with a and say, "Look, this is what's happened. It's a technical issue. We've spoke to Shopify was saying the situation that they're looking to try and rectify it for future issues won't happen again because it's something they've never considered happening. It's obviously they've been operating for years. They've never had this problem, or at least they've not said they've had this problem before. I suspect they probably have, and just don't worry about it.
Sure.
And they've had to say, right, we are now actually going to be contacting people within the next 24 hours, let them know if they have got a copy. And we'll be contacting people. We'll actually be going through the records and working down to the millisecond to find out who got each copy first.
I hope they don't get a huge amount of backlash for this.
I think they've got out there really early. Now they
but you know what people are like, as you said. Gamers are pretty, even tabletop guys are pretty.
Yeah, it can be, and they've gone out. There'll be something's going to have to happen with this, obviously, and ultimately they chose to use that software. That's there on there. Unfortunately, this happens. They could do everything right, but sometimes the bug does stop with you if you set the software and you didn't make sure it could handle that. Obviously, it's something you think. I don't think anyone thought this was going to be this popular.
No, for sure.
I certainly didn't. I know they've sold out often before, but usually it's within a few hours. Last time I ordered a pre-order box set often for the new edition a few years ago, I went on about an hour and a half after it launched. I was able to order a copy. And about 8 hours, it's sold out. So that's what they were expecting. They weren't expecting minutes. So I do feel sorry for them. So hopefully this won't backlash. But I think they at least got out there quick and they sort of announced it. And they've been, but you are right. They will get some complaints about it. But I hope it will be. Hope some people understand. They have said they're planning to get a second wave of editions through, which is not what Games Workshop have said. So how have Games Workshop responded to this? Because everybody's quite angry at Games Workshop for this, because this is usually making enough, which they clearly underestimated as well. So what have Games Workshop done to respond to this? Well, actually, I thought what they've done is actually fairly decent in some ways. They will now make you a copy to order for the same price. So you can go on their site now and you can order it, and they're resetting up their production facilities to basically make them to order. The box sets will be done to order for you. They have said its expected lead time is 120 days, which gives you an idea of their manufacturing capability. But they will make it to order for you for the exact same price. That's, I think, is best they could have done.
What more can they do? Yeah,
without kind of saying we ain't going to make any more. They basically, that's the best they could have done was that. So in that episode, I say actually go on them. And as someone said, they fucked the scalpers off because people expected the scalpers probably rubbing their hands when they saw it sold out. If they got their copies, and they saw the game had sold out, I think marvelous. I could probably sell it for twice the price. But now the Games Workshop, if you're prepared to, some people aren't going to be prepared to wait.
No.
If you're prepared to wait, though, why would you wouldn't buy off a scalp off eBay?
And let's be fair, scalpers are pretty thick. As an example, so the mini consoles that have been coming out over the years, like the NES Mini, Super Nintendo Mini, Mega Drive Mini, stuff like that. When the PC Engine Mini came out in the UK, it was being sold, I believe, exclusively through Amazon. Now, almost immediately from day one, they were coming up on eBay.
Yeah.
For like hundreds of pounds, like 100, 150, 200 pounds. But the funny thing is, they were scalping a product that was still available.
Yeah.
It was
They were
bizarre.
relying on people not. They were relying on people not looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've bought stuff off eBay and it's been bidding. I'm watching the bidding going, thinking, hang on a second. I've gone and Googled it. It's like, well, I could buy a new copy for now. That's less it's being bid for.
Yeah, for sure.
Because people haven't bothered to just Google it.
Yeah, I've seen that with hardware too. You know, you're looking. It starts off as a good deal, and all of a sudden you see people paying more than retail.
Yeah, this is why you don't. When you're on eBay, you don't bid at the start. You bid at the end.
Yep.
You put your maximum bid in at the very last second, and if it's high enough, you'll get it.
Yep.
If it's not, you're not. But that's the price you're prepared to pay, and you're not going to be encouraged to pay more. That's what you do. And I made it when I first used eBay. That was a mistake I used to make was I used to bid straight away. If I use eBay now, I either do buy it now if I can't get cheaper elsewhere, or I bid at the last second.
Okay.
And that's what most people do. And I know they say, "Oh, I've seen so many sellers say, oh, it makes no difference if you bid early or bid late." Yes, it fucking does.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes a hell of a lot of difference. Don't try and pretend it's not. I appreciate you want to save as much as you can, or make sure you put a reserve on for as much as you want for it and hope you get more. So I have a lot of sympathy for that.
I just want to throw out there, I really, really, really hate sellers on eBay who have a buy it now of an absurd price, a make offer and a bid button, and the make offer, they will like the people who will never take a lower offer than the starting bid. It's like, you've got an hour left. No one's bidding on it. I'm offering to take it off your hands for a little bit less than your initial asking price.
Yeah.
You know, well, I only want this amount. It's like, well, then you shouldn't have put it up with a, you know, asking for people to pay more than what they could get for an initial bid.
Yeah. Don't put the make offer on there. Put your buy it now, which is the price you're hoping to get for it. Put your starting bid at what you'd accept for it as its minimum.
Yeah.
That's what you accept. Less than that, you don't. That's what the whole point of a starting bid is it's what do I accept as its minimum value, and then hope you get more for it.
Yep.
So that's the Games Workshop. So all first Games Workshop, they have sort of tried to resolve it as best they can, but ultimately it's a production line process, and you can only make them so quick.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but
good on them in the grand scheme.
Yeah, I know they get a lot of flack to get to it. They are. I think not the greatest when it comes to dealing with independent shops. I think they will say, "Oh, we want you to sell a whole new range of this. Here's what it is. You need to sell it." But they are busy in the day, and I think they do well enough, and people do well enough out of them.
Yeah,
to make it so. But yes, unfortunately, I lost access to my little special edition stuff, which I could have got if I got the pre-order. But oh well, I'll live.
Will you?
I will.
He then goes on eBay and picks up like 6 copies.
No. But I will be sat here next podcast, my Indomitus box set, going, hey, I got it. Here it is.
I didn't get mugged, or is in a body cast.
Yeah. So, in case you want to know, I'll be going to Games Workshop at 2 a.m. in the morning. That's when I'm going.
Fantastic. Yes.
2 a.m. Yeah, 2 a.m. in the morning. That's when I'm going.
Random note: you do know there's a place in Alton Broad that now sells Warhammer, right?
Oh, is that new?
Yeah, DD. I think it's called DD Music.
Oh, that's cool. They're not on the stockist lists.
It's literally been open like a couple weeks.
They've not shown up yet then, because there's two. The ones I know about are Anatar, so a small selection. Omega Games in the bus station.
Yeah.
That's who I tend to go to. I do often buy local, or I did before lockdown. That's who I used to go to buy stuff from.
Sure.
Because he was a local stockist. But I didn't know when an Alton Border opened up.
Yeah, I don't imagine they're going to have a huge selection because they're kind of like, you know how you'd go to Norwich back in the day and you'd have like a place that was selling like pop vinyls and DVDs and little bits and bobs from everything. They're like that, a very small shop, but they also happen to have Warhammer. So
Like Avatar does.
Yeah.
They've got I'll have one, maybe two stands.
yeah,
Yeah. That's cool. I honestly do like going to little shops and like looking at the models and picking them up and trying to convince myself not to spend that much money on something.
you know, on my 30th, when we went to that takeaway restaurant, just across from the Broads,
Oh yeah.
literally just down the road from there.
Oh.
So down near Flames.
Oh really? Okay.
Across the road from the Waveney and the Lady of the Lake.
Bitch in the ditch.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. I have to go check them out. When they are lucky for them to start just open now, though. It's not greatest of time.
Yeah,
in the
I
world.
know. So, do you remember the old dairy in Alton Broad?
Oh, vaguely.
So it used to be like an ice cream shop and all that kind of stuff, and it used to be run by an elderly couple.
I
Well,
never went there.
Yeah, well, that it got sold off, or it got closed a long time ago, and it sat empty for the longest time. And they have completely repurposed the building, so it's now like 4 or 5 shops.
Oh, cool.
One of them is, there's like a cafe and a hairdresser's and a florist, and then you've got this little music shop that also sells DVDs and bits and bobs and Warhammer. So, maybe people could go and check that out.
I will. I'll have it after when they. I'll be honest. With lockdown at the moment, I am only going to shops for essential purposes.
No, I get the groove.
I'm not comfortable yet going out and just browsing around shops.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand.
This ain't over yet. We're in a bit of. I think everybody's got a bit of false security at the moment. What's going on? The figures are dropping down. There's going to be a second spike.
Well, they ain't dead yet, so clearly there's nothing going on.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable. I've not been to all the pubs we opened. I mean, my friends said we're neither going to go to a pub.
Sure.
Not for at least the earliest we'll go to a pub will probably be Christmas. It's the
I
earliest
understand
before.
that groove.
Yeah. That's if everything has stayed low by Christmas.
Yeah,
we'll go to a pub.
That would be my approach too.
Yeah, but I suspect figures are going to skyrocket in the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now you haven't everything up. Yeah, I suspect
there are practically people down. So the pub down the road from where I live, literally the moment people found out they were open, it was full. It was absolutely full.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. There are practically people licking each other.
It's like it's a pub. I just want to say to them, guys, it's like when McDonald's opened up. They were queuing down. So McDonald's opened up. There's a roundabout. And there's like a road. They were queuing down the road opposite to McDonald's. Yeah. It's like. I had a look on the day they opened. I was at work. I worked obviously just down the road from McDonald's. I thought, I'm just going to pop down and see what it's like. I thought, and if I'm not going to probably buy anything. If it's completely empty, I might be tempted to, but I'm not going to just sit there. And I got there, I saw the queue, I thought, my gods, I am not that desperate for a burger.
Yeah, for sure.
But as it was, a couple of weeks later, it all settled down.
And they're practically empty now, from what I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't. It's like being back at normal. Let's say if you used to go there at 6 o'clock on a normal day, you used to queue. So it's no different now. If you go at lunchtime, you'll queue. But then again, that's how it was in the past. So it's basically back to normal now. Mm-hmm. When I've driven there anyway, it's been like that. Sure. So I've had no problems going through there anyway. I've had to go. It doesn't feel. Feels like pre-COVID times when I go there. It's probably the best way to say it. They're open for breakfast now as well, which is handy.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's all. I'm not sure what KFC is like. I've not tried KFC yet. See what their queuing's like.
We haven't been down there since we last actually spoke about it on podcast when they opened up and they had tailbacks all over.
Yeah. So I've not tried it. One day I will probably, but I don't know. I just haven't felt the urge for KFC.
No, I get the groove.
But yeah, we'll see. So yeah, but I've got to go there with my mask and my fingers, Warhammer. It's all be fun. It'll be fun. Okay. The last thing I just wanted to talk about was the news that happened early part of this week, which was was a shock to me. I wasn't expecting it to happen. Mm-hmm. I actually felt quite sad when I heard it. Grant Imahara died this week.
An aneurysm, was it not?
Yeah, brain aneurysm. Now, for those who don't know, if you don't know him, And if you ever watch MythBusters, and I don't mean this in a rude way, he was the Asian one.
There you go.
That's yeah. If you watch MythBusters, it's all this. That was him.
You had the Italian guy, the chick,
Troy
and the Asian
Belenji,
one.
yeah. And it's not been a good year for MythBusters because you know the Carrie, when she went off maternity leave, they had that person substitute for her. She's dead.
Oh really?
She died in a land speed record attempt.
Oh Christ.
Yeah, I think she died last year. Jessie, I think her name was.
Oh right,
Scotty.
sure.
She died. Yeah, she died. She was trying, and she actually did break the record, but she died doing it.
Damn.
But yeah, she's dead, and obviously they've lost a couple of their. A couple of people died who worked on it last month.
MythBusters is still technically a thing, is it not? Just not with.
No, it's gone now.
I'm sure they were still running it because I had a look on Google Play, and they still had episodes up, but it wasn't with the original team. And,
No, I'm sure.
Grant, Tori, and
Carrie.
They went off and did something else anyway.
They did the White Rabbit project, which wasn't brilliant. It had the nub of them trying to do something interesting, but it was a bit too. It didn't know what it was.
Sure.
It was on Netflix. It was a science show. It didn't quite know what it was trying to be. It had no sort of personality. I couldn't describe it to somebody. I could say it's a science show that explores some sort of topics, but so vague you can't. MythBusters, like they test commonly held myths as if they're true or not.
Yeah.
This was I couldn't try. It wasn't the White Rabbit was very. I watched it. It was very meh. It was no MythBusters. It was okay, but some episodes were really crackingly good, and some are really they struggle to find content for.
Yeah.
Clearly. But yeah, as far as it works, I vaguely think that I thought Adam and Jamie Hyman actually had owned some of the rights to MythBusters in terms of name and stuff. I believed.
I don't know.
So Jamie, he's just sort of like retired completely from TV and stuff. He's been building stuff for firefighters, like designing vehicles and stuff for them.
Oh sure,
it's quite cool. Adam does his tested program.
Well, Jamie used to do that too. It used to be Jamie and Adam's tested, but then Jamie took it when MythBusters disappeared.
Yeah.
Or when they said they were going to do the final stuff together, he backed off from tested as well.
Yeah.
Not that he had much of a seat in tested, to be honest.
No, I mean I think Adam and Jamie didn't get on. I don't think.
No, they didn't.
They got on professionally. They were very good professionally, but they weren't personality-wise. They weren't. They weren't. I definitely like let's go and eat Joe's for lunch type. People.
No, they weren't. That was made very clear.
That's fine. That's fine. There's a professional relationship, and they worked well together professionally, and that's all you need. And let's face it, half the people I work with, I wouldn't go around to have lunch with.
No, for sure.
But we're fine at work, so that's fine. But yeah, it was quite. Yeah, so I watched Adams. He did his special broadcast on Grant Imahara, and you could tell that they were obviously quite close because there was a few times where he almost lost it. It was quite hard to watch actually in places when they were talking about him. So because he was a. I mean, I didn't realize also. I knew he was in the movie. Worked in
he
like
did Disney at some point, didn't he? I can't remember what it was called. But there was a department of.
He did. He worked on a lot of the ships for Star Wars Episode 1 and 2. He did. His most recent thing he released was he's done. I think he's doing animatronics for like the Disney worlds. I think is what he's doing, and he did a Baby Yoda animatronic for it, which was what he put out there on YouTube. Was very popular. So he was doing quite a lot of stuff. He's a very smart guy. I mean, all of things I didn't realize he did. And he was involved with. Like I found this out from Adam's house. You know Adam's impression of Jamie where he gets his fingers and wiggles his fingers. That's Grant's invented that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, weird things like that. So, but yeah, it was a real shock when I saw the news that he'd died of a brain aneurysm. I was like, when it popped up on my feed, I was like, no, can't be. So. Really sad. It's a sad. There's a lot of people in this world who I'd rather have gone instead of him. So it's
For
quite.
sure. I'll be honest with you. I haven't kept up with any of the crew from Mythbusters since Mythbusters stopped being a thing.
I wouldn't say I follow them. I've got subscribed to Adam Savage's channel on YouTube, so I see his stuff pop up. I don't watch a lot. I don't watch a lot of it because I subscribe to a lot of channels. I can't physically watch them all.
Sure.
Tori and Kerry, I looked them up after this, but you know, it's when it pops up, you sort of look up and see what they're doing now, type situation. But yeah, really, really sad to see him go, and it's such a scary thing to happen. I mean, brain aneurysms are just there's no warning.
You don't know. 1 minute you're there, the next minute you're gone. That's the thing.
Sometimes sometimes people have symptoms for them. That's not totally true. A lot of times it's you're gone, but sometimes people do have symptoms for them. Because I think it was I've got to get her name right. Is it Emilia Clarke, who played Daenerys in Game of Thrones, like the bad sort of queen about Game of Thrones, the sort of one who has all the dragons in Game of Thrones. If you've probably, I'm sure if you're not Game of Thrones fans, you'll when you've seen pictures of Game of Thrones, you'll just seen her on there somewhere. I think she actually had a brain aneurysm when she was at the gym once, and she realised something was wrong. She had to rush in. She actually has a charity to help people because they're quite. If you survive them, they're like having a stroke.
Yeah,
you can be quite severely disabled afterwards. So she was very, very lucky. She's not very old. The other thing about it is there's no sort of real age risk touch, and you just.
Oh no, for sure. It's just it's there.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying, actually.
For sure.
And it's one of the things it's terrifying, but at the same time, you can't be scared because you'll never know.
No, that's it. Well, I mean, you got to think your body is so complicated.
No.
You know, just cherish every day you have, and keep moving forwards until you can't go anymore.
Yeah. So Grant will be missed.
Bless him.
Bless him. That was all I want to speak to you about, Skazz, tonight. That's all I've got on my list. So, unless you got anything else to talk about?
I've got nothing, son. Got absolutely nothing.
Marvellous. Well, thank you for watching this our podcast. That's episode 144. I'm going to record on the 18th of July. It's my new thing. I want to say the date when it's recorded, just to make it easier. Well, if I thought when someone listens to it, it makes it a bit easier to talk when we're talking about stuffing house. And that's all wrong.
That's a bit out of date.
Yeah, it's because we talked about it beforehand. 18th of July 2020. Our next podcast will be on the 1st of August. Come join us on our podcast on twitch.tv/randnerds, youtube.com/randnerds. We broadcast at approximately 9:30 GMT +1 every 2 weeks. Next one's the 1st. You can also come join us every week for Rand Nerds Games Night, which happens at approximately 8 p.m. GMT +1. On the Twitch channels, twitch.tv/TheSuffolkRam and twitch.tv/Skazzius, which I've now got written on the screen, so I can actually see how it's spelt.
Good job.
Tuesdays. Yep, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. That's every Tuesday as well at 8 p.m. And the previous week's episode I try and get put up on the Monday before.
Good job on that. I'm
glad
you're doing those and not me.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased actually how they're coming out now. The sort of late as I saw, I've got better at them, so I'm quite pleased how they're going out. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you next time. So thank you very much, everybody. Oh, for me, the SuffolkRam.
Skazzius.
We'll see you next time.
Take it easy, guys.